When we talk about the creation of woman, we must begin with the understanding that nothing about her existence was accidental. There is no mistake in her design, no flaw in her conception, no randomness in her appearance on the scene of history. When God formed the earth, He worked with intentionality. Every star in the sky was placed with accuracy, every ocean given its boundaries, every tree designed to produce after its kind. And when He formed man, He placed within him potential, vision, and authority. Yet, even after calling all of this good, something was still incomplete. It was not until the creation of woman that the divine masterpiece was truly finished. This shows us that woman was not created as an afterthought, nor as a backup plan. She was not placed on earth simply to fill space or provide companionship in a shallow sense. Her purpose was divine, rooted in eternity, carrying a weight that speaks to the very essence of humanity itself. A woman was designed to bring balance to creation, to embody a dimension of God's character that man alone could not display. That means when you see a woman, you are looking at intentionality in its purest form, at the final stroke of genius that completed the painting of creation. The truth is, until woman came forth, something vital was missing in the world. Man could not fully reflect the Creator by himself, because God is both strength and gentleness, justice and compassion, authority and nurture. So, the woman was created not to compete with man, not to diminish him, but to complete the full expression of God's nature on earth. This is why Scripture says, male and female He created them, and He called their name Adam. Both were necessary to carry the image, both equally valuable, both equally purposeful. Understanding this changes everything. If a woman does not know she was designed intentionally, she may allow culture, tradition, or society to dictate her worth. And when worth is not rooted in divine purpose, it becomes vulnerable to abuse, exploitation, and neglect. For centuries, women have been underestimated, undervalued, and even silenced, not because they lacked ability, but because humanity failed to see the intentionality of their creation. When purpose is unknown, abuse is inevitable. That is why it is critical to understand that a woman is not an accessory to man. She is a necessary dimension of God's design for life itself. Think about the way the Creator formed woman. While man was shaped from the dust of the ground, woman was carefully crafted from the rib of man. This act was not arbitrary, it was symbolic. She was taken from his side, not his head to rule over him, nor his feet to be trampled beneath him, but his side to stand beside him as equal, to be protected and loved as part of himself. That intentional act declared her worth from the very beginning. She was meant to walk with him, to partner with him, to share in dominion and responsibility. Every woman carries within her a unique dimension of God's purpose. She has been given the power to nurture, to create, to multiply. But beyond her physical ability to give birth, she has a spiritual and emotional capacity to bring forth life in everything she touches. A woman can take a house and make it into a home. She can take a small idea and transform it into a thriving enterprise. She can take love and multiply it into legacy. That is why her role in creation is not supplemental. It is central. She was divinely fashioned to add what was missing, to complete what was incomplete. Consider the impact of women across history. Every great leader, every visionary, every thinker and pioneer was born from the womb of a woman. Nations rise because of women who nurtured kings, prophets, inventors, and warriors. Communities thrive because of women who silently build, educate, and hold families together. Even when society denied them titles, positions, and recognition, women still shaped history from behind the scenes. That is intentionality. That is power designed from the beginning. But let us go deeper. If you misunderstand the purpose of a thing, you will inevitably misuse it. That is why so many women today struggle with identity. When a woman does not know she was created with divine intentionality, she may seek validation from the wrong places. She may measure herself by comparison, by beauty standards, by economic status, or by what others say about her. But true worth cannot be found in human approval. It must be anchored in divine design. And divine design declared from the beginning, "It is not good for man to be alone. I will make him a helper suitable for him." The word helper here is not a term of inferiority. In the original language, it is the word ezer, which is used to describe God himself as our helper. That means the woman's role is not one of weakness, but of strength. She was created to be a source of divine assistance, a reflection of God's supportive nature, a strong presence that enables wholeness. When you grasp this, you realize that womanhood is not something to be apologized for. It is something to be celebrated. Her intentionality also carries responsibility. If she was designed to complete creation, then she must rise to that calling with confidence. She cannot diminish her gifts or bury her talents out of fear or insecurity. She must embrace her role as a carrier of destiny, recognizing that her influence has generational impact. Every choice she makes, every life she nurtures, every atmosphere she shapes, these are eternal assignments. To truly honor a woman, one must honor the God who designed her. To diminish her is to diminish the Creator's wisdom. To suppress her is to reject the fullness of His image. That is why societies that devalue women ultimately destroy themselves. A nation, a family, a community cannot rise higher than its view of its women. When a woman is given her rightful place of honor, everything she touches flourishes. The intentionality of her design means she is not replaceable, not disposable, not secondary. She is essential. Her presence carries balance. Her voice carries wisdom. Her spirit carries life. This is why, when you look at a woman, you are not just seeing another human being. You are seeing the intentional answer to a divine problem. You are seeing the missing piece that made creation complete. So to every woman, you are not random. You are not here by chance. You are the manifestation of God's intentional design. You are the final masterpiece, the seal of completion, the reflection of a dimension of God the world cannot live without. Walk in that truth, embrace that identity, and never allow anyone to reduce what God so carefully created. And to every man, understand that the woman beside you was formed with the same intentionality as you. Honor her, protect her, empower her, and celebrate her. For in recognizing her purpose, you elevate your own. Woman was not created as an afterthought. She was the thought that brought creation to perfection. That is her identity, her purpose, her power. The power of a woman is not something loud, flashy, or always visible on the surface, yet it is undeniable and deeply transformative. It lies in her ability to take what is given to her and bring out something greater than what she received. That is the secret of her design. She is a multiplier, a cultivator, and a transformer. When you place something in her hands, she doesn't just hold it, she nurtures it, develops it, and produces something far beyond its original form. This is not only a physical truth, but a spiritual reality. Think of it this way: a woman receives a seed, and within her womb, that seed becomes a child. She receives a house, and she fashions it into a home filled with warmth, beauty, and belonging. She receives ideas, and with patience and creativity, she shapes them into businesses, movements, and legacies. This is her God-given gift, the ability to transform and multiply. It is not confined to motherhood or domestic life, though it shines brightly there. It extends into leadership, entrepreneurship, education, ministry, and every arena where she places her hands. Wherever she is positioned, she has the innate capacity to bring increase. This multiplying power is why women often carry such influence. Influence is not always about standing on a platform or holding a title. It is about shaping the atmosphere and direction of lives. A woman's words can build a man's confidence or break his spirit. Her presence can stabilize a home or create disorder. Her wisdom can guide a generation or leave it wandering. This influence is not an accident. It is the result of the multiplier within her. And when a woman understands this about herself, she can wield that power with responsibility, purpose, and dignity. But when this truth is misunderstood, it becomes dangerous. If a woman multiplies whatever is given to her, then the question becomes, what are you giving her? Give her love, and she will multiply it into trust, warmth, and support. Give her respect, and she will multiply it into honor and loyalty. Give her vision, and she will multiply it into strategy and execution. But if you give her bitterness, she will multiply it into resentment. Give her neglect, and she will multiply it into pain. Give her insecurity, and she will multiply it into doubt. The multiplier does not stop working simply because what she receives is negative. She transforms and enlarges whatever she carries, good or bad. That is why it is so vital to pour the right things into the heart and hands of a woman. This power to multiply is also what makes her such a force in society. Women have always been the backbone of communities, even when their names were not recorded in history books. They shaped culture around kitchen tables, passed down wisdom through lullabies, and influenced nations by raising leaders who would one day carry responsibility. The rise or fall of any generation can often be traced back to the women who nurtured it, taught it, and instilled values into it. This is not weakness. It is the purest form of power, the power to mold the future before it even arrives. And yet, many women underestimate themselves because society has often undervalued them. Too many are told their worth depends on appearance, status, or the approval of others, when in truth their value is rooted in their ability to shape, multiply, and transform. A woman who knows her power cannot be easily manipulated because she understands that she is not a receiver of leftovers, but a producer of abundance. She knows that her voice matters, her presence matters, and her contribution is irreplaceable. Consider also how this multiplying power impacts leadership. In the workplace, women often bring perspective that balances logic with empathy, strategy with creativity, and structure with flexibility. They can see beyond what is and imagine what could be, then nurture that vision until it becomes reality. Their influence is not limited to managing tasks. It extends to inspiring hearts and cultivating environments where people thrive. Leaders who recognize this strength in women unlock innovation, resilience, and growth at levels they could never reach alone. But to harness this power effectively, a woman must first recognize it within herself. Too many live below their potential because they do not see the gift they carry. They wait for permission to step into roles they were already designed to fill. They shrink back from opportunities because they underestimate their influence. But when a woman wakes up to the truth of her ability, she no longer hides. She steps forward with confidence, knowing she was designed to be a multiplier of life and destiny. She understands that her words can shape futures, her ideas can change industries, her love can heal wounds, and her faith can move mountains. This multiplying power is also why men and women must learn to honor one another. A man who recognizes the gift in a woman will feed her the right seeds: vision, affirmation, protection, and respect, because he knows she will return it all multiplied. Together, they create an atmosphere where dreams grow, families thrive, and generations are strengthened. But when her power is ignored or abused, both suffer, because what could have been a flourishing partnership becomes a barren struggle. Think of the ripple effect of a woman who fully embraces this gift. Her children rise with confidence because she spoke life into them. Her community thrives because she built systems of support and encouragement. Her workplace prospers because she multiplied ideas into innovation. Her marriage flourishes because she multiplied love into trust and harmony. She does not need to shout to prove her power. Her results speak louder than any words ever could. Yet this gift is not without responsibility. To be a multiplier means to be careful with what you allow into your life. A woman must guard her heart, protect her spirit, and choose wisely what she invests in, because she will inevitably bring forth more of whatever she carries. If she dwells on bitterness, she will spread it. If she nurtures fear, it will grow. But if she fills herself with faith, wisdom, and vision, she will overflow with life, giving influence. Her power requires stewardship because the consequences of her multiplication are far-reaching. The world is in desperate need of women who recognize and embrace this truth. Women who see themselves not as powerless, but as powerful. Not as dependent, but as influential. Not as silent, but as voices of change. When a woman understands that her power lies in her ability to multiply, she stops competing with others and starts contributing to transformation. She doesn't waste energy trying to prove her worth. She simply produces results that cannot be ignored. Her power is subtle yet unstoppable. It does not boast, yet it builds nations. It does not demand, yet it shapes generations. It is not about domination, but about transformation. And when she walks in this truth, she becomes a living testimony of what it means to turn little into much, to take what is ordinary and make it extraordinary, to receive and to release something far greater. The power of a woman lies not in what she takes, but in what she makes of what she is given. She is the multiplier, the nurturer, the transformer. And when she embraces that, the world cannot remain the same. Purpose is the foundation of everything. Without purpose, life becomes an experiment, a cycle of trial and error, filled with frustration and confusion. Power by itself can be dangerous if it is not directed by purpose. A person can be gifted, talented, and full of potential, but if they do not understand why they exist, their energy is scattered and their strength is misapplied. This truth is especially vital when speaking about women, because women carry such immense influence, and when that influence is disconnected from purpose, it can lead to misuse or even destruction. From the very beginning, the design of woman was intentional. Her power was not given randomly, but for a reason. The Creator never gives ability without attaching it to responsibility. That means every woman has within her a purpose that explains her presence. Without discovering that purpose, her power remains either hidden or misused. The tragedy of life is not death, but living without ever knowing why you were created. And this tragedy has repeated itself in countless lives of women who have been told they are less, who have been limited by culture, or who have been deceived into thinking their worth lies only in appearance, status, or approval. When a woman does not know her purpose, she can misuse her power in subtle ways. She might use her influence to manipulate instead of to guide, to control instead of to nurture, to compete instead of to complete. She might waste her gifts on things that bring temporary satisfaction, but no lasting fulfillment. She may pour her energy into relationships, careers, or pursuits that do not align with her true assignment, leaving her exhausted but empty. Power without purpose is like fire without direction. It can warm or it can burn. It can build or it can destroy. The difference lies in knowing why that power was given in the first place. Purpose is the original intent of the Creator. It is the reason behind existence. Everything in life has a purpose. The seed has the purpose of becoming a tree. The sun has the purpose of giving light. The rain has the purpose of refreshing the earth. When each thing functions in its purpose, life flows in harmony. But when purpose is unknown, abuse is inevitable. This principle applies directly to the life of a woman. If she does not know why she was created, others will try to define her purpose for her. Culture will assign roles. Society will dictate value. People will project expectations. And if she accepts these definitions without seeking her true design, she will live a life far smaller than what she was meant to fulfill. This is why discovering purpose is not optional. It is essential. A woman cannot walk in her true power until she understands her divine assignment. Knowledge of purpose gives direction to her gifts. It protects her from abuse, from misuse, from being undervalued or overlooked. When she knows why she exists, she no longer allows people to reduce her. She stops settling for less. She stops comparing herself to others, because purpose is never about competition. It is about contribution. Each woman has something unique to bring, something no one else can replicate. Think of how this transforms the way a woman sees herself. Without purpose, she may believe her worth is tied to her looks, her possessions, or her relationships. With purpose, She understands her worth is intrinsic, rooted in design, not in performance. Without purpose, she may live for the approval of others, constantly changing herself to fit expectations. With purpose, she lives for an assignment greater than herself, one that does not fluctuate with opinion. Purpose gives her confidence because it anchors her identity in something unshakable. Purpose also activates discipline. When a woman knows why she was created, she no longer wastes time on distractions. She invests her energy into what aligns with her assignment. She becomes careful about the environments she enters, the people she surrounds herself with, and the opportunities she accepts. She recognizes that not every open door is meant for her, and not every invitation deserves her yes. Purpose allows her to say no without guilt, because she knows her yes is reserved for what truly matters. This understanding of purpose is what unlocks true power. Power by itself can be destructive, but when guided by purpose, it becomes creative, life-giving, and transformational. A woman with purpose uses her influence not to dominate, but to inspire. She uses her voice not to silence others, but to bring clarity and direction. She uses her nurturing nature not to enable weakness, but to empower strength. Her power becomes a force for good because it is aligned with her reason for existence. We must also acknowledge that purpose brings fulfillment. Many chase success, wealth, or recognition, yet still feel empty. That is because success without purpose is simply achievement without meaning. True fulfillment comes not from how much you accumulate, but from how much you align with your assignment. When a woman operates in her purpose, she wakes up with passion because she knows her life has meaning. She can endure challenges because she knows her struggle is connected to destiny. She can stand firm against opposition because her purpose gives her strength to persevere. Purpose also defines legacy. The greatest impact of a woman's life is not in what she gains, but in what she gives. When she lives according to purpose, her influence extends beyond her lifetime. Her children, her community, her generation benefit from the seeds she planted. She becomes a living example of what it means to walk in divine alignment. Her story inspires others, not because she was perfect, but because she was purposeful. This is why every woman must make the pursuit of purpose her highest priority. It is not enough to simply exist, to work, to survive, to meet expectations. Life is too valuable to waste in confusion. Purpose gives vision, and vision gives life direction. Without vision, people cast off restraint, but with vision, discipline, power, and focus align. A woman with vision cannot be easily distracted because she knows where she is going. A woman with purpose cannot be easily broken because she knows what she carries. To discover purpose, a woman must look beyond culture, beyond tradition, beyond the voices around her. She must look to the one who designed her. Because the intent of a product is found in the mind of its maker. The key to discovering purpose is not comparison but connection. Connection to the Creator who knows why she was formed. Once she finds that connection, her power is no longer aimless. It becomes precise, intentional, and effective. And so, the message is clear: purpose unlocks power. Without purpose, a woman's power may intimidate, confuse, or be wasted. But with purpose, her power transforms families, communities, and nations. With purpose, her power heals wounds, restores hope, and multiplies life. With purpose, her power is unstoppable, not because it is loud, but because it is aligned with destiny. When a woman discovers why she was created, she no longer lives as a shadow of herself. She rises, she shines, she walks in the fullness of her design. And in doing so, she becomes not only powerful, but purposeful, a force that nothing in this world can silence. From the very beginning, the design of man and woman was never meant to create rivalry. Competition was never the intention. One was not created to diminish the other, nor to replace the other, but to complement. The true picture of humanity is not in isolation, but in partnership. Man alone did not reflect the full image of God, and woman alone did not reflect it either. Together, side by side, they reveal the balance of strength and gentleness, of authority and nurture, of vision and multiplication. This truth is essential to understanding the divine harmony between men and women. They were created not for competition, but for completion. The world often distorts this reality. Cultures and traditions throughout history have attempted to elevate one above the other, reducing partnership to domination and equality to rivalry. The result has been confusion, abuse, suppression, and brokenness. When men see women as threats, they compete instead of honor. When women see men as enemies, they resist instead of complement. But the truth is, both carry unique designs that, when brought together in unity, release the fullness of human potential. When separated by competition, both lose. A man was designed with qualities that equip him to protect, to provide, and to carry vision. A woman was designed with qualities that equip her to nurture, to multiply, and to sustain life. Neither role diminishes the other, but both together reflect the wisdom of the Creator. One without the other is incomplete. Imagine trying to clap with one hand. It is possible to make a sound, but it is never as powerful as when two hands come together. That is the beauty of partnership. When a woman and man walk together in understanding, they do not cancel each other out, they enhance each other. A man brings strength, but that strength is given direction and multiplied through a woman's wisdom and nurturing ability. A woman brings influence, but that influence finds protection and support through a man's covering. Together, they become unstoppable because they are operating in the design of completion, not in the dysfunction of competition. This principle is true in every sphere of life: marriage, family, community, leadership, and society at large. A family thrives when husband and wife embrace partnership instead of rivalry. Children are secure when they see unity instead of conflict. A community advances when the contributions of women are not suppressed, but celebrated alongside men. A nation prospers when both genders bring their strengths to the table without fear, without intimidation, without diminishing one another. But when this balance is ignored, the consequences are devastating. A man who suppresses a woman silences a part of himself because she was designed as his counterpart. A woman who rejects the value of a man undermines her own potential because his role was designed to complement hers. The enemy of progress is not weakness, but disunity. Division destroys the strength that was meant to come from partnership. This is why societies that belittle women, or environments that pit men and women against each other, ultimately stagnate. They cut themselves off from the wholeness that comes only through completion. Completion means that both are needed. Equality does not mean sameness. It means value without hierarchy. A man and woman are not identical in function, but they are equal in worth. Their uniqueness was meant to be celebrated, not erased. A man cannot fulfill a woman's role, and a woman cannot fulfill a man's role, yet both roles are of equal importance. When one attempts to overshadow the other, the picture is distorted and the purpose is lost. Consider the symbolism of woman being taken from man's side. She was not taken from his head to rule over him. She was not taken from his feet to be trampled beneath him. She was taken from his rib, close to his heart, under his arm, to walk beside him, to be cherished, to be protected, and to be loved. That act of creation was itself a message, neither dominance nor inferiority, but equality in purpose, harmony in partnership. When men and women embrace this truth, it changes the way they see each other. A man no longer views a woman as competition, but as completion. He recognizes that his vision can go further when shared with her gifts. A woman no longer feels threatened by a man's strength because she understands it exists to support and protect her influence. Instead of rivalry, there is unity. Instead of suspicion, there is trust. Instead of tearing each other down, they build each other up. This partnership creates an atmosphere where both can thrive. A man who honors a woman invites her to flourish. A woman who respects a man empowers him to rise. When they stand side by side, encouraging each other's strengths, their combined influence is powerful. Their unity becomes a foundation for strong families, thriving communities, and progressive nations. Completion, not competition, is also a safeguard against insecurity. Many conflicts between men and women arise from fear of being overshadowed, fear of being irrelevant, fear of being replaced. But when you understand that you were designed to complement, not compete, you no longer feel threatened by another's strength. Instead, you see it as something that enhances your own. A man secure in his purpose celebrates the strength of a woman. A woman secure in her purpose appreciates the protection of a man. Together they operate not from fear, but from confidence. And this principle extends far beyond relationships. In workplaces, organizations, and leadership structures, when women and men recognize the value of completion, innovation flourishes. Men may bring directness, focus, and structure, while women bring creativity, empathy, and adaptability. Combined, these qualities create balance, resilience, and vision. When one gender is excluded, an entire dimension of potential is lost. But when both work together, the results are multiplied. The world is hungering for this kind of harmony. Too long has division robbed humanity of progress. Too long have misunderstandings created barriers between men and women, breeding mistrust instead of unity. The time has come for a new perspective, one that does not see genders as enemies, but as allies. One that does not pit them against each other, but joins them together for the fulfillment of a greater purpose. The truth is simple: completion is stronger than competition. A man alone cannot fulfill his destiny without the influence of a woman. And a woman alone cannot fulfill her destiny without the partnership of a man. They were never meant to stand apart as rivals, but to walk together as reflections of the image of God. When we embrace this truth, we see each other differently. We honor instead of belittle. We empower instead of suppress. We complement instead of compete. And in doing so, we unlock the fullness of human potential, a potential that can only be realized when men and women rise together, side by side, in partnership, in unity, in completion. For in the end, the beauty of humanity is not found in one or the other, but in both together, reflecting the completeness of creation and showing the world the power of unity over rivalry.